The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to This Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of the Shit Podcast. I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Luis Garcia. Luis, how are you doing?
Thank you, Sam. Pretty cool. Super excited being here with you.
Thanks for being here. I know that English is your second language. I appreciate the effort. I know that my podcast is bilingual, so some episodes are in Spanish, some are in English. I struggle with Spanish.
I struggle with English.
I appreciate you being here. I know what it's like to struggle.
Struggle is real.
The struggle is real. But we do have a very special guest, like I said, Luis Garcia. For all you guys that are tuning in, don't know Luis very well. He has a podcast called ¿Qué fue de ellos?, which is Where Are They Now? Pretty much.
What about them?
What about them?
Yeah. What happened to them?
What happened to them? Right? It's a very successful podcast. So I appreciate you being here. If you guys don't know, Luis is also an Emmy Award-winning reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a report.
Regional Emmy. Well.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. I mean, you're the guy with the Emmy here at the studio, so it's awesome to be able to work with you. I know that we were working as writers on a late night, and dude, you won an Emmy. That's pretty badass, pictures and everything. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks.
Also, your biggest achievement, though, your most recent achievement, survived COVID. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm a survivor.
So it's good to have you back. I'm glad that you're healthy now and life is moving on.
Yeah.
We do have a very cool episode, I guess. And I kind of made this episode for you, but I wanted to talk about a particular person.
Okay.
He was an icon in the reporting world is in the United States. Guy by the name of Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite.
It's actually Cronkite. Like a kite.
Okay.
Papalote.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite. It's a hard name to say.
Cronkite. Yeah.
Cronkite. So I don't know if you know anything about Walter Cronkite.
No.
Not really.
Hear about him.
He's like the Jacobo Saludowski of the U.S.
Really?
Yeah.
He's an asshole?
Except without the lies.
Oh, okay. So he's not an asshole.
He's not an asshole. But he's an icon when it comes to reporting.
Okay.
Walter Cronkite.
So he was a reporter or a news anchor?
He was both.
Okay.
But he was given the title of being the first news anchor, but that was a myth. He really wasn't. There was a guy before him in 1948, and I have it written down somewhere, but I can't find it right off the top of my head. But actually, he was known as like the first news anchor.
Okay.
He was born in 1916 in St. Joseph, Missouri, U.S. Okay. And he actually died July 17th, 2009 in New York. He was
from 90, almost 90
He was 92 years old.
92 years.
Yeah, 92 years old. He was a pioneer of television news and programming to be known as the most trusted man in America.
Wow.
Right. So
which channel?
This was, we're going to talk about it because he did a lot of different things.
All right.
Okay. So Cronkite was married to Mary Elizabeth Betsy Maxwell. Elizabeth, nickname back in the 20s and 30s. What was very common for Elizabeth was Betsy. So Betsy Maxwell from 1940 until she died in 2005. They had 3 children, and he died July 17, 2009 from cerebrovascular disease.
Something in the brain.
Sounds like it's like a vein in the brain. Okay. All right. As a childhood, Cronkite was an avid reader of books. He read books.
Okay.
Loved reading books. And in 1927, his family moved to Houston, Texas.
Right.
And that's where he went. He worked in the school newspaper in middle school and high school. Then he graduated from high school, and then he went to college. Mm-hmm. He went to University of Texas at Austin.
Okay. Right?
Longhorns.
Longhorns.
But something weird about him is he did not graduate from college.
Yeah, me too. Me neither.
You neither. I guess it's like artists, huh? Artists don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's journalists. you don't have time to graduate.
You don't have time to graduate. You're busy. Yeah. But one of the things that he was most known for is that he actually became an editor for the United Press.
Okay.
Which was very popular during World War II. Right? I think now it's the Associated Press. I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
Right? So the United Press. He was a war correspondent in 1941. He started to be a war correspondent in 1939. Okay, so he went to London to cover the war, and then he ended up actually going on some of the bombing that they did, and he was a war correspondent. And in 1941, he was assigned to covering the North Atlantic, and he became. It says here.
On those times, you had to trust the guy, right? Because you don't have like video or something like that.
Yeah, you had to. Well, I think they had a lot of it was through radio, but a lot of the movie producers from Hollywood actually ended up going to World War II.
Okay.
To produce movies, because what was happening during World War II was that Germany had a very good propaganda machine.
Okay.
So they were producing a lot of propaganda films, and this was elevating the spirits of the Nazi regime. But then a lot of the movie producers, and there's a movie on Netflix that just came out, Five Came Back, and it talks about the different movie producers that went. And for right now, because we're recording this, I can't think of their names.
They even have Donald Duck, right?
Donald Duck.
Nazi propaganda. I can't remember if it was against the Nazis.
It was against the Nazis,
Okay.
Yeah, what happened was that the U.S. started to see, and I believe it was Goebbels. Goebbels was the Nazi director that loved making Nazi propaganda films. And the U.S. had to answer back. Okay. So a lot of the guys that were producing movies in the 30s and 40s went overseas to help the war effort that way. Okay. And so they started producing anti-Nazi propaganda films. And I guess propaganda is a bad word, but they started producing films, you know, against the Nazis. And they would show this in the movies. I don't know if you remember, if you've seen old films where they had like an announcement before the movie and it was a little short film. Yeah. That's what they would show. They would show and our boys overseas are, you know, and that kind of stuff. And so you would see that. And so he was one of those guys that was embedded with the soldiers, you know. Cool. He flew bombing raids over Germany. And in 1944, he reported the Allied landing on the beaches of Normandy. All right. So he got to be part of history there by reporting Normandy, you know, D-Day. Yeah. And after the end of the war, he actually covered the Nuremberg trials. Do you know what those are? Yeah. That's when they were prosecuting all of the war criminals from Nazi Germany. So he actually covered all of that. Okay. So he had a very, very, very extensive career as a... And
over there, he already had the nickname of the most trusted guy?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
No, this was when he was starting out. He was a war correspondent. He then became a UP, which is a United Press bureau chief. So he actually became the chief of the bureau. And then eventually he became the UP bureau chief in Moscow. Nice. And he served there from 1946 to 1948 as the guy in charge of the news in Moscow. You know, the Moscow news with the U.S. Okay. He was known for being very matter of fact. If it was good news or bad news, he didn't care. He reported good or bad news. He was known for breaking the news to America. He was the guy that he told you what was going on. You know, this was before now I'm getting all stumped up. Editorializing, you know, was popular. So it was like he didn't give his opinion. He just gave a matter of fact. Yes, no, this is what's happening, right? Okay. Over the years, he's gone down in history as one of the greatest reporters of all time. And he started from the very bottom. Yeah. His very first
dishwashing.
Pretty much. Actually, it wasn't dishwashing. If you were in a restaurant, that would be the very bottom. Okay. He actually started with a paper route. Okay. Right? That's his very first job. He delivered the newspaper in Kansas.
Because I started as a dishwasher.
As a dishwasher?
Yeah, I used to dishwash.
You changed careers?
Yep.
Yeah, he started throwing newspapers, the Kansas City Star. That was what he did.
Okay.
And then the very first newspaper job was in Houston. When he was 12 years old, he was the editor of the school newspaper.
Okay.
Right. Didn't go to college. He dropped out after 2 years of political science from the University of Texas. But some of the things that he got to report on that were major, he reported the assassination of Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and John Lennon.
And those were on TV?
Those were on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, by that time we had TV. But he did start on radio.
Okay.
So he was broadcaster first on the radio, and then he eventually became a broadcaster on television. And the main network that he ended up working for was CBS. So CBS tried to hire him in 1948. They were unsuccessful. He finally caved, and he got hired in 1950. And he was with CBS, I think, the rest of his career. But one of the main reasons that I wanted, apart from it being Walter Cronkite and everybody kind of knowing who he is in the States, I'm kind of wanting to introduce this to our audience, which may not know who he is. And you can Google him and figure it out. But the reason that I thought he was the shit or something that we could talk about was because he was awarded the Ambassador of Exploration Award.
Wow.
That award, now a lot of people are like, what the hell is the Exploration of Ambassador Award?
Yeah.
That award is an award that they give to astronauts. So they gave him, he's the only person who was not an astronaut. He was, not the only, he was the first non-astronaut to get it. He got it.
Why was that?
Well, it's interesting because he covered the Apollo 11 launch.
Okay.
Right? And the start of the Apollo 11 launch to the finish of the Apollo 11 launch, the finish is when they walked on the moon, took 30 hours.
Okay.
He covered 27 hours straight.
Damn, nonstop.
Wow. 27 hours. I don't know if you know, that's pretty tough, right?
Being a reporter, I covered the election day. It was like 2 hours straight. It was like, fuck that shit.
You were tired after 2 hours?
Yeah, with the El Paso shooting, it was 2 days straight.
2 days straight.
With breaks and stuff, but you're not always on screen, but you have to be
ready to go,
looking for information and stuff like that. And 30 hours, fuck that.
27 hours.
27 hours.
Yeah. And of course, Apollo 11, well, that was the first space flight where men landed on the moon, 1969, July 20th, 1969. Armstrong was the first astronaut on the moon. So I thought that was a pretty phenomenal fact about him, is that he actually got this award. He got it awarded in 2008. And it was pretty impressive. He was also the first non-NASA employee to get it.
Okay.
So that was a pretty big achievement. The other thing that was interesting about him was that he had an FBI file. The FBI had a file on him. See, back in the 40s and 50s, the anti-communism movement in the United States was big. So they created files on all these different people
okay.
that they thought might be sympathizers with the Communist Party. And a lot of those guys were movie stars, right? And so anti-American act is what they would call it. And so they had all these files. The FBI had all these files on these different guys. Now, he was on a TV show that was like supposed to be the Good Morning America of that time, But in this TV show, the idea was that he had an imaginary friend that was a lion.
Okay.
And he would talk to the lion. This was like the 50s. You know what I'm saying? And he said that it just didn't go anywhere because the lion was a puppet. So he got tired of talking to the puppet. He was like, I don't want to talk to this puppet anymore.
Damn.
But a lot of the writers for that show were actually people who were banned and blacklisted from Hollywood because they were sympathizers with the Communist Party. So he was involved with that. So the thing about his FBI file is it got destroyed. They decided to destroy under the law, that would become public information.
Yeah.
But because of who he was and he had already passed away, the FBI decided, will destroy his
So it
file.
never went public?
Never went public, and it can't go public. You know, so that's one of the things about Walter Cronkite that's unique, is that his FBI file was completely destroyed.
And we're never going to know.
We're never going to know. You know, we're never going to know what he was involved in. And the other thing that was, and this is how we opened the show, but the other thing that was amazing about him and was the shit about him was that in 1972, an Oliver Quayle poll did a survey.
Okay.
And they found out that Walter Cronkite was more trusted than the Senate, House of Representatives, and the president and vice president in any other famous reporter. He was legitimately America's most trusted man.
Nice.
Pretty cool, right?
Pretty cool, yeah.
We've come a long way. We're now in the world of fake news.
Yeah.
But I thank you for being on this episode of The Shit.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was the episode. I know that this is maybe a subject matter that is going to be foreign to a lot of people listening to, but Walter Cronkite, he was the shit. You know,
He was the shit.
And you're the shit. You're a reporter, and you're also an Emmy award-winning reporter. So I think
He never won an Emmy or something like that?
I don't know if he won an Emmy or not. I didn't look that up. I was just kind of focusing on his accomplishments, but it didn't list any Emmys or anything like that. Can you check and see if he won an Emmy real quick? Walter Cronkite?
I think he was just nominated. I'm checking.
Yeah. That's our producer, Lolo. He just had a brush in with your producer, the boss. I'm glad we're all here to settle it.
I got two Emmys and one Golden Globe.
2 Emmys, 1 Golden Globe. So
Nice.
that's pretty amazing.
One more.
One more than
He
you.
just won one Emmy. I'm sorry. He got nominated once, and then he won once, and then he won Golden Globe. So
Dude, you're
The same
tied.
as me.
You just now need the Golden
I just
Globe.
I won one, nominated another one.
Did you?
Yeah, but I lost.
Yeah, but you got nominated twice.
Yeah.
And now you need a Golden Globe.
Yeah, that's
But
not
the
going to
go-
happen, but
That happens if you're on TV, no?
Golden Globes.
his
I think,
Golden
for-
Globe was a television achievement. It was a special one.
Oh, it was a special one. So it wasn't like he was in a movie or anything or a TV show, but it was a lifelong kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's awesome. You guys do an important job. We appreciate you guys keeping us up to date. And I appreciate you being on this episode of The Shit.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you
And
for...
and thank you for giving it a shot in English, bro. That's amazing. So I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're feeling well.
Thank you, Sam.
Where can people find you?
They can find me at Instagram. It's Luisardo Garcia.
Luisardo Garcia.
And on Facebook too. And
You're like Luis Garcia on Facebook, right?
no, well, that's my reporter page.
Oh, that's your reporter page.
Yeah, but if you want my comedian page, it's Luisardo Garcia.
Luisardo Garcia. Well, that's great. Thank you for being here. My name is Sam Butler. You can find me as Tu Amigo Sam on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. You can also find my podcast as Está Cagado Podcast on Spotify and all the podcast platforms. And we want to thank you guys. Please like and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And if you have any comments, add the comments. All of the people that have been following us, we just hit 10,000 subscribers. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Congrats, Sam.
Thank you guys very much for your support. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you very much. That's it. Good night.